It's kind of been a whirlwind, man. It's a lot going on, a lot of moving pieces. Just trying to get acclimated, get used to the offense, getting used to how Coach Gruden calls things, and how he wants certain things, and how the offense is ran. Probably the biggest issue, or not issue, the biggest difference is having a head coach that is an offensive specialist. So that's a big, huge change up from last year, and just the demand that he's asking for from us.
What more has he demanded of you than is it more than you're used to being demanded of in the past?
Not a little bit. We just have a lot of new moving pieces to our offense. A lot of times the tight end has to do a lot. It has to be moved around a lot, play a lot of different positions, and I think it's a lot more of that this year than last year. Just in terms of how he's coaching, in terms of how he wants things done. I think it's a demand on everybody as a whole on the offense, but that's what we're pros for. That's what we're here for. It's probably a different seat that a lot of us are used to sitting in, and it's just getting used to it and learning a new offense and learning how to run it.
He's fond of throwing little curveballs, and we were going to do it this way, but nope, now we're going to do it this way. And some other players have talked about that. And have you found that kind of thing keeps you on your toes and challenges you, and you enjoy it, or is it?
Yeah, absolutely. Those curveballs are what helps you learn, and they help you learn fast. But especially if you mess up on something that he throws out there, because you're gonna hear about it, but you won't mess up on it again. But he always has little nuances and new schemes, new things that he's always throwing at you each week. So it's on you as a pro to make sure that you're staying on top of it and make sure that you're catching up on everything that he's throwing at you.
You were one of a few veterans that the Raiders signed last offseason. This year, it's been more than a few that they've brought in. What have the group of veterans and the experience they've carried, and maybe some of the work ethic and leadership that attributes that they offer the locker room? What do you think that's done for just the room, just to have those guys ever brought in?
You can really tell a difference right away, because with vets, as you're walking around the locker room or even right after a play on the field, they ask questions like, "What did you just run? What were you trying to do right there? What do you see?" As a tight end, what are you trying to do, or how are you trying to set me up when you run a route this way? So it's a lot more conversation as to trying to figure out the puzzle. And we're happy to exchange that information because we ask those questions right back. A lot of times when you ask a younger player that, they really can't tell you, and especially tell you in depth on what you're trying to do or the type of goal that they're trying to accomplish. So that's the biggest difference. The guys on defense are a lot more vocal, a lot more questions, a lot more dialogue, talking things out, which is good. It helps both sides of the ball, because I asked them the same thing. When you line up here or when you line up there, what were you trying to do? How were you trying to reroute me on this play? Were you trying to get your hands on me, or were you just trying to ride me out, So that's probably the biggest difference in having more vets on this team.
And you guys on defense specifically, with whom you've gotten the most out of those conversations?
Pretty much all. I mean, most of the linebackers. I talk to the linebackers and Tank a lot. Those guys are probably the most vocal because, they're trying to figure it out too. And the type of defense that Coach Gunther's bringing in is something that you rarely see in the NFL. It's something new for us too. It's a lot of different mixed coverages and coverages that you don't really see, especially playing in our division. So it's just good to have those guys as like a piggyback or a second reference, just to make sure that what you're seeing is correct.
Jared, how would you describe the intensity of this offseason program under John Gruden?
It's definitely intense. He really makes you like football again. Like, it's enjoyable because it's not too much of bashing you or beating you up. He understands what you're going through, and he makes it fun, man. It's not all about learn, beat you down. he's trying to teach you something and take you somewhere that you've never been before, right? So a lot of that comes on us as players to be able to catch up with him because he brings it. He brings it every day. He brings the intensity. He brings the energy. Even in the meeting rooms, the meetings aren't just sitting here just going over plays, talking through the plays, talking about the plays. Like, he demands reaction from you. He wants to hear from you, what is your assignment? So he asks you a lot of questions in these meetings. And there's no shortage of energy at all. He brings it every day, and he expects it from us as well.
Bruce said last week that he had never seen somebody whose face could stay red for all 7 periods.
Man, I don't know how many cups of coffee he drinks every morning, but he up there on it, man. That's for sure. He definitely brings the intensity.
How much of that can waver? Because obviously you love the game, you grew up playing it, but over the course of a long career, different experiences, different interactions with people along the way, you maybe can get jaded a bit. How much can that happen?
That's a good question. A lot, especially when you're on teams that aren't so successful. You can kind of lose your insight onto why you fell in love with it, why you really like it, especially when you're losing. It's hard to come to work every day with a smile on your face when you're losing, right? And when you're winning fixes everything, right? So it's good to have somebody, no matter what, he always focuses on the next play. He always focuses on the future, never the past. It's all about what can you do for us next. It's on to the next. It's on to the next. Focusing on positivity, focuses on doing your job right, and focusing on having fun. So being in the league, it can kind of skew your perspective, but it's good to have somebody that brings a new energy and a new outlook on things.
Derek says earlier, he says he feels rejuvenated. Last year was tough on everybody. He feels rejuvenated. Is that fair to say you do as well?
Absolutely. It's definitely you kind of enter it cautious a little bit at first, but I think he definitely has guys buying in. I mean, I bought in for sure because he knows what he's talking about, and you can tell a difference in a coach that knows what he's talking about and a coach that does not, and he knows what he's talking about.
Last couple questions, guys.
Jared, change the subject here for a brief instant. As a veteran player, do you have any thoughts at all on the owner's stance on the national anthem and the players having an option to stay in the locker room? Or do you have any thoughts at all on the process, on what they're trying to do? When you gonna ask that?
Yeah, the narrative has changed, right, on what it was originally about, and it's a real issue in this country, and it's sad that you can't have great minds that come together to fix a problem, right, and talk about a problem and make the situation better for all. And I think that it's sad that it's gotten to this point. It's sad that people lose their lives for minuscule details that aren't even important as the bigger picture. And that's just the life that we live. That's the time that we're living in. We're here for a bigger platform. We're not just athletes. And we're people that live this. It's people in our neighborhood. It's people that we grew up with. It's people that we know that are actually living through these circumstances. So when we speak on it, it's not like we're just speaking out of the side of our neck. It's things that actually touch home and things that we can actually relate to. All I got to say is I just think it's sad how it's veered from being something that stood for good, and the whole narrative has changed into something that's negative when that was not what it was initially about in the first place. And that's all I got to say.
You took part in St. Louis
Mhm.
and the hands up. Is it upsetting that the NFL doesn't want to allow for you guys doesn't want to allow you to have that ability to express yourself?
You know, you look at a league like the NBA, right? And I think the NBA always handles its social issues pretty well. It always handles its players really well, and the utmost respect for the players. And I think that it could have been a bigger and a better way to fix the situation. You could have had, like, all right, you got breast cancer, you got breast cancer month or whatnot. Just have a social injustice month. Raise money, bring positive light to it instead of making it negative. Focus on the good and focus on fixing the situation instead of making it worse. I just think it could have been steps to prevent it and make it better for both sides.